welcome back for another video. So today's video is all about hair porosity. So what is hair porosity? Hair porosity essentially is just your hair's ability to absorb and retain moisture. That's it. So everybody has different hair porosity. There's low, there's normal, and there's high. So low hair porosity means that your hair cuticle is closed. So it can take a long time to dry when you have low porosity hair. Natural oils don't penetrate your hair easily because that cuticle is closed. It also takes your hair longer to get wet, just as it takes it longer to dry. And it's hard to get moisture into your hair, but once it is in there, it keeps it in there. It stays in there. Normal porosity hair, the hair cuticle is half open, half closed. It's kind of just normal. It's not fully closed where it's straight and flat, and it's not fully open where, you know, your hair is bumpy. So normal porosity hair easily accepts moisture and retains it. It holds a style well, it's bouncy and elastic. You don't really have to do anything special because of your hair type. High porosity hair is usually what they call heat damaged hair. So your hair cuticle is like fully opened. It's open too much. So with high porosity hair, your hair absorbs water easily, but it dries very, very quickly. So what this means is that it can absorb it quickly because your hair cuticle is open, but it lets all of that moisture out very quickly. So it dries quickly. And all of that product and everything that you're putting in doesn't stay in the hair shaft. So your hair with high porosity your curls can look and feel very dry, often frizzy, you know, it can't hold moisture, and it doesn't have that bounciness. So what does hair porosity mean for you? For curl care, if you have low porosity hair, what you want to do is you want to get all the moisture in your hair that you can, because remember, our cuticle is closed, which means we have a hard time getting that moisture into it. So while deep conditioning, you always want to use heat, whether it be a heat cap, or you can have a shower cap with like a towel over top, because your head does produce natural heat. So as long as you're using some kind of heat to keep that in, the heat is going to open up your cuticle and allow the moisture to penetrate your hair. So you want to do that probably for a good 2 hours or so, because you want to make sure you're getting the maximum amount of moisture into your hair. So you want to use alkaline products. So alkaline products such as Eden Body Works, the Cocoa Shea Moisture, and TGIN Moisture Rich products. Those are all very great products for low porosity hair. So what do you do for high porosity hair? So the problem is moisture escapes it very, very quickly. So what we want to do is use minimal heat, because we don't want to open up the hair cuticle anymore. It's already open up enough. We actually want to close the hair cuticle. So do not use heat. Even with deep conditioning, it's not necessary for you to use heat, because your hair shaft is already open. It's going to retain that. Air dry, you don't want to apply heat like a diffuser or anything like that, because that'll open up your hair cuticle even more. What we want to do is we want to seal the hair cuticle closed. So you deep condition just regularly. You don't need to apply any heat. And then when you're rinsing out, you want to rinse with cold water. Cold water is going to seal and flatten that hair cuticle so that it's harder for all of the moisture to escape it. and you want to make sure that you're regularly deep conditioning, because this is going to maximize your overall hair health. So generally, high porosity hair is some kind of damaged hair, heat damage, color damage, just maybe being rough with your hair, detangling really hard, not using a silk pillowcase, things like that damage your hair. So you want to kind of bring it back down to the normal range, and regularly deep conditioning with good quality deep conditioners is going to give you that hair health, as well as, you know, taking gummies to strengthen that hair cuticle and that hair shaft. And you want to gently detangle. So you want to take a while. Don't try to do it quickly. You want to make sure that you're detangling gently and softly so that you're not breaking your hair off. So with this, you want to use products and minimize frizz, because your hair cuticle is open, which means it's naturally more frizzy. So curls that help with this is the Uncle Funky's Daughter Curl Magic Curl Stimulator. This stuff is amazing. I live in Canada, so I can't really get it here. I had to order it online, and it cost me an arm and a leg to get it sent here, but it is an amazing product. So if you're, you know, a fellow Canadian, you can hop over the border and go buy it there, or just order it. But it is a really, really, really great product. It has a lot of slip. It is also moisturizing, which is amazing, and it defines your curls. Another one is the As I Am Coconut Co-Wash and the Shea Moisture Raw Shea Butter line. So those are very great products to give you maximum moisture, reduce frizz, and help promote overall hair health. So in my previous video, I talked about silicones and sulfates. So how would they play a role in your hair porosity? Well, let's think back to what silicones actually mean. So silicones seal the hair cuticle. It doesn't allow moisture really to get in. So when you have high porosity hair and you're using silicones to seal that, you're not allowing moisture to get in, because moisture leaves your hair very easily with high porosity hair. So if you're using silicones, you know, a shampoo with silicones, a deep conditioner with silicones, no matter what you're putting in your hair, it's really having a hard time to keep that in. And silicones are just making it so much worse. Now with low porosity hair, your hair shaft is already sealed. So it's already, you know, flat, and it's really hard to get that moisture in. So when you're using silicones in your shampoo and your conditioner, and you're sealing it with those silicones, then it's going to be hard to get that moisture in, even more so. Once it's there, it's you know, it has a hard time coming out, but silicones are just another level that make it very hard for that moisture to penetrate into your hair when you have low porosity hair. Also with sulfates, so we know that sulfates can be drying for curly hair, and it can make it, you know, brittle and frizzy and all that stuff. When you have high porosity hair, you already have a problem with your hair being dry. You already have a problem with frizzy hair. So then now you're adding a chemical to your hair that's creating even more frizz and even more drying. So that's why it's important to know what's in the products, what they do for your hair, and then it's also important to use different products, use different things to see what your hair reacts to and what it doesn't react to. It's important to know whether you have high porosity hair, low porosity hair, or normal porosity hair. There are 3 tests that you can do to find out what your porosity hair is. It's not a, you know, a dead set end all be all, but there's 3 general tests that you can do. So there is the shedding test. This is the first test. So this, you take a clean strand of your hair, maybe when you're detangling after you wash it and get everything out, you take a clean strand of your hair, you drop it in a cup of water and give it a little bit of time. And if it floats, then it is low porosity. If it drops to the bottom, it is high porosity. And if it stays somewhere in the middle, then it is normal porosity. So that makes sense, because if it's low porosity, your hair has a hard time absorbing that moisture. It'll stay to the top. And if it's high porosity, it sucks in all the moisture very, very quickly, but loses it quickly also. So it'll sink to the bottom, and the normal hair is just doing its own thing in the middle. It's the perfect kind of hair. There's another one called the strand test. So this, you take just a strand of your hair at your earlobe or the base of your neck, and what you do, generally you want to do this when you don't have anything in your hair, and you want to take the bottom and just slide your fingers up the shaft. So if you have low porosity hair, you won't be able to feel any bumpiness really. It'll be smooth, very, very smooth. If you have high porosity hair, then you'll feel the cuticle, you'll feel the bumpiness. And if you have normal porosity hair, you'll feel a little bit of bumpiness, but a little bit of smoothness also. It's right in the middle there. So my hair is very, very smooth. I can't feel any bumps really at all. And that's an indicator that my hair is low porosity. The last test is the water test. So you take your hair, no product in it or anything, you squirt some water with a water bottle on it and see what it does. Does it bead up on top of your hair? Does it soak in right away? What does it do? So if it beads up on your hair, we know it's low porosity because it has a hard time gaining and sucking in that moisture. If it's high porosity, it'll suck it in right away. And if it's low porosity, it may bead for a little bit and then be sucked into your hair. It doesn't take too long for that though. So I'm gonna insert a clip here, and this is my shed test. So I took a clean strand of hair, I put it in water, and as you can see, I gave it a good minute and it still didn't sink. It didn't do anything. It stayed at the top. So with both of those tests, the shed test and the strand test, I have low porosity hair. Which is funny because I do suffer from frizz a lot. However, I mean, that's what you get when you have curly hair still, right? You have frizz. There's frizz that's going to be there, especially in the humidity. So I have low porosity hair. So what does that mean for my hair? That means I need to deep condition regularly with heat to make sure it's penetrating. I need to make sure that I'm trying to retain all of the moisture that I can. And that's it. So I hope that this helps you out. Do those porosity tests and see which your hair is, and that can help you to make a better decision and to protect your hair and keep it healthy.